This is Charlton Zoning Board of Appeals, Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with new business. So we'll start with Carl Stores, 91 Carpenter Hill Road. Come on up, have a seat. So do you want to, can you just state your names for the record?
Name's David Blissman. I'm the president and CEO of Sunshine Sign Corporation in Grafton, Massachusetts.
Robert Uncheck, Supervisor of Equipment and Facilities, Carl Stores.
Okay, so gentlemen, you want to just let us know what you're applying for and why the board should grant you relief.
Well, I'll give you my situation and you can give me your professional interpretation.
Okay.
I merged with a company called KG Sign
Recording in progress.
back in September of 2018, and Sunshine Sign Corporation is a very code compliant organization. We always do exactly what the town wants us to do. The folks at KG were very, very difficult to work with, and we did end up parting ways. In the interim of that, they did a set of illuminated channel letters at Carl Stores facility on 91 Carpenter Hill Road. And those were installed on January 13th of 2020.
Okay.
We did get a call from the building inspector in early February that the letters that were on the building are what are called internally illuminated, so each letter form is its own separate sign cabinet, and they're internally illuminated. The permit called for external illumination.
Okay.
So I'm in a rather difficult spot for us because we don't do it this way normally. KG Sign is long gone. They are out of business. The merger, we bought out the principals, and so we are back to just Sunshine Sign Corporation, but did feel a sense of responsibility to bring this issue to us. So when the building inspector notified us that we were not in compliance of what was required, Mr. Antek was nice enough to cooperate and shut the sign off, so there is no illumination to the sign.
Okay.
When we did go out there to view it, we found that it is significantly back from Carpenter Hill Road, and that, quite frankly, with the setting of the building somewhat lower than Carpenter Hill Road and a fair amount of foliage that buffers in front of it, we thought that having the sign in its present state with internal illumination would not be offensive and certainly would not cause any issue with neighborhood complaints, etc. So at the recommendation of the building inspector, we're here before you tonight to see if we can get relief to signage that is presently existing on the building.
So this is a sign that's affixed to the building, correct? It's
Yes,
not. It's not like the sign.
It's individual letters that are affixed to the building.
Right. It's like on the top corner of the building or
The
something.
parapet that sits above the main entrance.
Okay. All right. Probably drive by it every day. Don't even notice it.
I would concur to that.
Do you have any questions, gentlemen? Eric, Bob, Eric? Do you want to call, I don't really have any questions right now. So, the sign, each letter is backlit to illuminate.
So the construction of the sign is the sides of the sign in the back are an aluminum letter form.
Yeah.
The front of the sign is a blue acrylic, and there are LED lights inside, so only the face of each letter lights individually.
All right. You guys have no questions right now? So you're asking for a variance from the zoning bylaw to allow a backlit sign?
To allow, yes, an internally illuminated sign.
Okay. Want to hear from the zoning enforcement officer slash building inspector?
Good evening. The parties have represented the problem realistically. We have dealt with this issue or this similar issue other times. So as the applicant indicated, the building is set quite a ways back from the road. It's approximately 800 feet back from the road, and the sign is located on an upper screening parapet, as you can see on page 2. This is a daylight picture. I didn't take a nighttime picture. They were very cooperative once they were notified of the violation that they turned the sign off.
Frank, name, Frank, can you take your paper and write some back, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, sorry about that.
So through the permitting process that occurred in 2019, I was presented with a sign application that said if we wanted to put up an internally illuminated sign. I told the sign company that internally illuminated signs were only allowed immediately adjacent to Route 20 and 169, that this would be a non-conforming sign and it couldn't be. They amended the application to be an externally illuminated sign. They provided paperwork to that. I issued a permit for an externally illuminated sign. And I just happened to be in the area one evening several months ago and noticed a glow of the sign. And I was on the site and I talked to Bob Angcheck here one day. Did I see what I saw? And he verified with me that it was an internally illuminated sign, and I said, "Oh, well, we have a violation here because I issued a permit for a compliant sign, and through some mistake, something else was put up." So, notified them of the violation, notified them of their options, which was comply, which they have temporarily. They turn the light off, okay, it's no longer internally illuminated. They could put external illumination on it, turn it on, or they can come before this board and see if you would grant them a variance for an internally illuminated sign in a spot that's not allowed by the bylaw. I would just say that because we made a mistake doesn't mean we have to give them a variance.
True.
I've never had a complaint about it, but there aren't people, do people know what the sign bylaw says? No.
How long was the sign illuminated before you think, rough?
A year, probably?
We installed in 1/13/2020. So 2 years and a month.
Let me ask you a question. The former defunct corporation that installed the sign, what, how do I want to word this? Is what Carl Stores, what you got on there is what you paid for? They sold you a internally illuminated sign, but applied for a permit otherwise?
Yes, sir.
All right, so when Carl Stores asked, when they bought the sign, they bought it internally illuminated. It was this other corporation that filed the permit that told the town one thing, but sold you guys something different.
Correct. This is the same type of sign that we have at our other 2 locations in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And our other locations in the country.
Okay.
So, that's all I have.
You guys have any questions?
I don't have any questions. No.
No, it
I mean-
seems, yeah, I mean, the people who did it aren't here. They don't
Yeah.
even exist anymore, right? The company,
That's true.
yeah.
And you got stuck holding the bag.
Yes, it is. It's part of business. I've been doing it a long time. I just, We just didn't culturally fit how we processed. We prefer to work closely with towns, building inspectors, and do what we're told to do.
Okay, do we have any abutters, members of the public that have any questions or comments at all? No one? You have no questions, no further questions? All right, do we have anyone from the selectman's office?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I got one question,
yeah.
if you don't mind. Do you guys have any preference on how to proceed? I mean, do you have any issue with going to either externally illuminated to be in compliance, or to just go forward leaving the sign off and not have to deal with this? Do you guys have a preference?
We do have a brand identity, and what our other sites do have is an internally lit sign. We
Okay.
would request or ask for a variance or approval to have it lit from internally.
Okay, thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what would the cost, is it to rewire that another way? Would you have to take the entire sign down to do that?
Well, I guess that would be a discussion between Mr. Anzac and I. We'd have to put some type of external light source. The trouble with that, because those letters have dimension to them, so they're 3 inches thick.
Yeah.
Any type of external light source is gonna cause a fair amount of shadowing and, I mean, quite frankly, devalue their brand. So I get why it was done. It's to match their corporate identity throughout all their facilities.
Right.
As you know, the correct procedure is, I go to the building inspector and get denied. I then go through the 12-week process of getting in front of you folks and seeing if I can get relief before I put anything up.
Right.
It's a little more difficult to come to you after the fact, so I fully understand that. And quite frankly, that's one of the reasons the merger didn't work, is that we just don't do business that way.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing I would add is that if I honestly thought that it was a grievous and that there was the opportunity for a lot of complaints and it was garish to the neighborhood, I wouldn't be before you, because we have a very strong name in the industry, and I wouldn't devalue our company by trying to ask for something. When I did look at it, I felt that it's, as the building inspector said, 800 feet back from the roadway. The worst color for channel letter illumination is blue, because it greatly diminishes the light source. So they're not super bright, not offensive. You can't see them from the street. I couldn't get through the gate. I had to physically walk down there to be able to see the sign location. So I thought I had a little bit of sympathy from the board to maybe at least give us some consideration.
Well, it's been up 2 years and a month, and
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me is, you guys said it a few times, it's our brand, it's our brand. So, you get a permit to put up a sign, you do it the way you want, because it's your brand, you deal with it later. That's just the way it sounds to me, to be honest. But putting lighting up on a sign on, what is it?
Carbon Hill Road?
Yeah, it's off the road, don't get me wrong, it's off the road, it's not gonna bother nobody. But what are you, 26 feet? 26 feet, light spreads pretty easily over 26 feet. With one bolt, you could do that. Just my thought on it.
Well, I mean, you guys don't have any more questions for the applicants at all?
No, no further
Yeah.
questions.
I just have a question. When you did apply for it, did you know that the permit had been rejected for an internally illuminated sign, or was that something that the installer kept from you?
That's something the installer kept from us.
I don't believe that the folks at KG ever showed Mr. Anzac the permit.
So you didn't know that you were not in compliance until
He absolutely did.
Curtis had?
Correct.
All right, we good? All right, so anybody from, can you hear anybody from the selectman's office, planning board, conservation, board of health, assessors, tax collector, senior center, any school committee, economic development, fire, police, town cable division, any other boards, committees, members of the public, any comments? Nobody? Someone make a motion to end our open portion of this meeting?
I'll make a motion to close the public portion of this meeting.
Second?
Garrett seconds, all in favor, say aye.
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 So, and I get what you're saying.
I was just saying my piece.
Yeah, so, you
that's
know,
all.
how much, you know, you have a company that,
It's not gonna bother anybody.
no, it's 800
Way
feet off the road, right. And the company that no longer exists
Yeah.
applies for one thing and puts up something other and doesn't tell the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the situation, but I mean, the bylaws are very, very clear and very specific about where they want these types of signs. And
Carl Stores in and of itself is, in my mind, I mean, I don't know, have you ever go up Carpenter Hill Road at all?
I thought that
All the
was.
Like
time,
you're
I
in the
didn't
middle
even
of a field and
I
all of
didn't
a
even know it
sudden
was
there
there.
is Carl Stores in the middle of a field. That itself, in my mind, doesn't make any sense to me at
I
all.
didn't think that would be residential.
Yeah.
R90, I didn't think it would be.
Have you ever been up there?
I have, I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, it's set way back,
Yeah.
you know, next to a couple of fields. And, yeah, so, you know, I don't have a problem with this. I think that telling them that they can't backlight it, and really it's not a fault of their own. And if this was something that was like screaming right over a bunch of residential houses and it was bright or whatever, wasn't so far back, I might think a little bit differently. And I think that, you know, kind of be a hardship for them to redo it so it would be lit
Yeah.
in a way that, that it would be meaningful to them or meaningful to any company for that matter. Are you guys okay with it, not okay with it?
Well, Curtis, could I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If we had approved a variance for this, does that set a precedent?
No,
No?
no. So every variance is set on the individual property.
I see, so it doesn't affect,
It's unique to each property.
I got you.
So if somebody else came in front of us asking for relief, we would look at only that property for relief. We wouldn't be, there's no necessarily precedent set, because we take each case on an individual basis,
I got you. And we look at the hardships of each.
each one.
I mean, I think a lot of stuff that we see is prior non-conforming, you know, extensions and
Yeah.
modifications, but this is something that should have been properly installed from the get-go. And,
Right, and it
you know, I
wasn't.
appreciate
And-
the situation that the applicants are in, but, you know, once again, I just think it's very clear that the town bylaws, zoning bylaws wanted these signs to be only on those corridors, and I think we
See-
need to stick with that.
Here's the thing, is that there's only 4 of us here tonight.
Okay?
So if one or more of you are in favor of a variance, then that's absolutely fine in my mind. But, if we vote that, and we're not unanimous in the vote, then they're barred for reapplying for 2 years. If you don't think that you're in favor of it, then my preference would be to give the opportunity to the applicant, maybe to continue
Continue
and
it.
come back and
Yeah.
maybe give us more information.
Yeah, and then, gives an opportunity to drive by at night anyway and see
Right.
what it looks like too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah,
So, excuse me. The sign is currently turned off.
yes,
So if the board wanted to go and visit the facility and
We
see
wouldn't
what
see
it
it.
looked like.
we would ask them to turn it, we'd have to make arrangements to have them turn it on.
Turn it on.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
date certain time, or a night, for a whole night. Just so that you're aware of that. And, I will say, it was not, as the applicant has indicated, it's not a glaring sign.
Right.
It's just a violation, and I have, a need to enforce
Yeah,
the regulations uniformly.
right.
Sure.
Don't forget too, Eric, the whole point of our board is to grant relief from the bylaw. For-
Yeah, when necessary, right? When-
Right, and that's totally up to you, I'm not, so do you want me to ask the applicant to continue? Do you want to vote? What do you guys wanna do?
Yeah.
I'm sympathetic to it.
Again, I would vote for a variance
Yeah.
on this, I don't think
Yeah.
that's a problem at all. How you guys feel, it's totally up to you.
No, I'm for it.
It's up to
I'm
you.
gonna go against it, so if you wanna
Okay.
continue it, let's continue.
Okay, so if I don't have as I said, I only have 4 members of the board tonight. If we vote and one member doesn't vote for it, then the variance is denied, and you can't reapply for 2 years according to the statute. So, we do have more members of the board, we have 2 more members. If you would like to request a continuance until our next meeting, we can certainly accept that and go, and then maybe the board members want to make arrangements. We would do that through Kurt, I think, to come and see it at night.
Well, you've been more than kind, we would like to continue.
Okay, so there's, applicant has made a request to continue the meeting till our next meeting. Is there a motion to continue this petition to
Do
the
we have
next?
to set a date for that, or can it be just on our next meeting and then we send it out?
How many days are we into this, do you know?
You have to have a decision by, I've already done this time. June 15th.
Okay,
2 months.
yeah, so we don't have to have it like next week or anything
Yeah.
like that. We don't
I
have,
have
we,
to check the schedule, because it's
Yeah.
town
So we
meeting
can
time.
just
so
leave
we
it
can
open.
check the schedule, we'll let you know. Yeah, so make a motion just to continue to our next,
Motion to continue.
Do
To
we
the
need
next meeting.
public notice?
we don't have to we don't have to set new public notice, because we've already opened the hearing up, so we can just continue it to the next meeting. We don't have to you don't have to send mailers out and all that ever,
Okay.
which is a pain in the neck. But
So it's all part of the process.
it is.
I'll
You
second the
guys don't set
motion.
the rules, so
No.
I get it.
So there's a second on Eric's motion to continue. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We'll see you, we'll let you know when the next scheduled meeting is. And then if one or more of the board members want to, want to come out and look at it after dark, that can be arranged, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
No problem.
So next on our agenda is Scott and Megan Blackwood, 28 Willis Drive.
Come on down.
Come on up.
I can want all that. Brad.
Can you all state your name for the record, please?
I'm Scott Blackwood.
28 owner.
Megan Blackwood of 28 Willis Drive.
Leonard Jalbert from Jalbert Engineering.
Okay. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to come in and explain what you're asking for and why the board should grant you relief?
Okay, I'd like to start out, what we're actually requesting is that we raise the existing structure that is there, which is basically a 26 by 26 foot structure
Yeah.
on the lot. And in the process of raising, it, we want to put in a new structure, basically in the same foundation vicinity, but the new structure will be 2 stories high.
Okay,
This one right now is only 1 story high.
okay,
And in the process of doing this, what we've got on the property is a well, which we plan to utilize the existing well, and a septic system, which we plan to utilize the septic system, because the usage of the septic system and the well are the same. The amount of bedrooms that are going in is exactly the same amount. It's 3 every 3 with the 2-story structure, so we're not changing the usage of the demand for the leach field or the well itself, and we're going to leave everything as is. As far as the structure itself, it's a single-family residential home, but staying consistent with the use, and that it will be a single-family residential home, which is compatible to all the homes in the immediate area, and it's not causing any hardship or anything because of new construction. The construction itself will be basically on the site where it is right now. Then the well and everything will not be changed.
Thank you.
And the shed that's on the property will not be changed.
okay,
Okay, so the construction of the proposed driveway, which is located on the southerly side of the lot, is staying as is. What we're doing there is we're actually eliminating some of the paved driveway area that's in there now, and there'll be less pavement on the property and less runoff. We're taking and putting it in a perimeter drain around the house itself, so there'll be no runoff from the lot onto adjacent properties. The total coverage on the property right now is roughly 15.36 feet, where we're taking the deck on the easterly side of the building and cutting that down slightly from what it was before, which was 166 square feet, and we're now going to be putting it in to be 96 square feet, which means that the coverage on the property actually will become 14.22 percent. So we have less coverage. We have the same demand for the site itself. We're taking the setbacks on the property and basically holding the setbacks where they were on the sides was at 12.8 and 6.5. We're going to 7.7 and 12.8 on the sides, so we're holding basically consistency on the south side, which is at 12.8, where it should be in the zoning at 15. And on the north side, we're going to go with 7.7, which is basically 7.3 feet short within the 15-foot setback. The street coverage itself is staying at 39 feet, which is greater than the 30-foot required, so we get the coverage setback is fine. The coverage is fine. The only two things they'd have to worry about is the variance on the north and south sides. One being the south side at 12.8, it should be 15. So we're talking roughly 2.2 feet difference on the south side. And then the north side, we're going to 7.7, so we're talking 7.3 feet on the north side. If there are questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
So basically, you're using a smaller footprint than you were existing.
Basically, yes, but, okay.
We did another one on Willis Road not too long ago, I think, yeah.
There was
All those
another-
lots.
Yeah, it's right next to
There's
us.
the
Right
one
next to
right
us.
beside it is the other one that's,
That's the vacant lot now.
that's a
Yeah.
vacant lot, right.
Yeah.
And we've gone through the conservation approval.
So given the, you're gonna, see, your septic system shows on this is in the front of the property, that's all staying.
That's
So you
correct.
couldn't move it that way, and then with the well in the back,
That will
it
stay.
would make it difficult to move the other way as well.
Right.
But you don't have any problems with the front or rear, it's just
Just,
side setback
Right.
and then dimensional requirements, correct?
Correct. And then actually, the requirement in the zone is 60,000 square feet, and the lot area itself is just a little over 8,000.
Yeah.
You know, so we actually have, as far as the lot itself, we're talking that we're undersized on the lot, and then we're also undersized on the frontage.
Yeah.
Where you were supposed to be 175, and we're now 50.
You guys have any questions right now?
No?
Rob?
No.
Karen?
Well presented?
Mr. Zoning Enforcement Officer?
Good evening. I'll see if I can get you through if I get all the way
No.
around. That's around. So what we have is a pre-existing non-conforming lot with a single-story structure on it. And as the applicant has described.
Thank you.
Applicant has described it as a single-story building on the property. Their proposal is to put almost an identical size footprint building on the property and improve it with a new two-story, single-family home. So as usual, we have the locus on page 1. Page 2 shows the existing building and shed. Page 3 shows the single-story house and assorted accessory structures to the left of the property at 30 Willis Drive. As the applicant has indicated, 26 Willis Drive is vacant. It is under a special permit at this time. Similar situation, a single-story home knocked down, being proposed to be improved by a much nicer home. And as we've discussed in all these hearings that occur in this neighborhood, that this is what's going on down there. You have 24 Willis Drive, which is a little modest structure that was built probably about 20 years ago, replacing existing structure. And 22 Willis Drive was a structure that was knocked down and erected on the same footprint as it was. And then across the street is accessory lots that belong to people across the street. Some of the septic systems are located over there. So the ask would be for a special permit to change, alter, extend the pre-existing nonconformity, that owing to the fact that it's no more detrimental to the neighborhood. And then you could grant variances for the side setback. You don't need to grant variances for the lot size or the frontage because we are pre-existing nonconformity. Thank you.
Kurt, I had one question. The overhang, you don't count as part of the structure, do you?
Decorative overhangs, cornices, chimneys, and non-habitable projections, okay, do not count into the setback
Okay.
of the 3 feet. So, I mean, you can have a pretty big
Right.
overhang. front steps, that sort of thing doesn't count.
No.
So, no, we measure, the requirement is that a registered land surveyor, Mr. Jowler, or one of his associates, provides a certified as-built to the foundation, once the foundation is in.
So you're, Mr. Jalbert, the plan that you have does show an overhang on each side of the setback, correct?
Let's see, let me just check.
36-inch drip strip, is that what it's calling out?
I don't know. It looked that way.
The overhang is on the upper level, which is
Right, so you're not counting, you're not
that
counting,
doesn't count.
you're not counting that as part of the calculation?
No.
Okay.
No, what we're counting basically is the distances from the foundation.
From the foundation,
itself to the
okay.
property line.
So on the,
Oh, I see what we got there. It's printed on the back side.
so on the northerly side, it would stay, you'd have 7.7 feet. On the northerly side, you're asking for a little under 8 feet for 15, and then you have 12 feet on the southerly side already. And then you're asking for 3 plus or minus
Right.
on the southerly side. And and there's no issues necessarily with the front or rear setbacks, you're within those with no problem. Okay. And then then they ask for a special permit, so the
Yeah.
special permit is what the change alteration, is it gonna be detrimental to the overall neighborhood?
Right.
On top of that, is what they're proposing to build in harmony with the overall neighborhood. Do you have any questions for them?
No?
Eric?
None?
Rob? Okay, I don't have any questions.
No.
And I think that, we can tell you about that afterwards. Are any abutters? Do we have any members of the public have any issues, comments, no letters or anything like that? Okay. Do we hear anything from the Selectman's office? Board of Health, assessors, tax collectors, planning board, conservation, economic development, school committee, fire, police? No one has any comments? All right. You guys don't have any comments?
No, I think they did a nice job.
All right.
Trying to build right on top of the existing foundation and keep it in line.
So, do we want to end the open portion of this hearing?
I'll
End
make,
to end?
yeah, I'll make a
Public
motion
portion?
to close the public portion of this meeting.
Second?
A motion by Rob, second, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, I have no problem with this. I think that there's probably 3 or 4 other houses that that are 2-story on the same area. You can't really build any forward or backwards, given the size of the lot. Like, usually my issue is that, if emergency personnel needed to get in the back, and there's enough on each side, more than 5 feet on each side, if you needed to get, an EMT or someone back there.
To the back.
To the back, but there's plenty of room on both sides to do that. It doesn't look like it's gonna be impaired in any way. So, and Kurt said that we don't necessarily need a grant, because it's already pre-existing non-conforming, a variance for the lot size or the frontage. So we would just need to grant a special permit saying that, that the construction, the change and the alteration of the structure is not detrimental to the neighborhood, and then another, variance. So we would be on the southerly side, according to the plan. Would that be, he's got 12.8, so it would be like 2.5, 2 plus or minus. And he's got 7 feet, so we would need what?
7.3.
7.3 plus or minus.
Okay. Want to make the motion?
Yeah, so I'll
You guys
make a
ready?
motion.
Sure.
And then, the hardship is, there's no
Yeah,
other space.
size and shape.
The size and shape of the lot, you know, in the location of the well and the septic system would be a factor as well.
Plus it's smaller footprint than what it was, so,
Right, I mean, that's why it's, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well,
You know,
we just do one, right? Just cover both of them.
Do
Yeah,
we
make
have
the
to do
motion
one
to grant a
extend the-
variance. Yeah, make a motion, grant a variance, for the side yard setbacks on the northerly side of, what do we say, 7.3 feet, plus or minus, as per the drawing, on the southerly side of, 2.2 feet, as per the drawing. Owing to the size and shape of the lot, they've demonstrated the hardship. And also to grant a special permit to extend the non-conforming use. And, I think we've determined that the proposed change that they're making here is not any more detrimental to the neighborhood. They're pretty much building right up on the existing foundation and building a structure that's in line with the rest of the new houses in the neighborhood.
is there a second on that motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. So this is what's gonna happen. The variance and special permit, there's a 20-day appeal period. At the end of the 20 days, the town clerk will notify you. You need to bring that to the registry of deeds and have the full, all the pages recorded. Once that, you can contact Kurt and apply for permits or whatever you need to do.
Okay,
All right, congratulations,
thank you.
good luck.
Can we do the demo permit, or does that still have, do we still have to wait the 20
You
days?
have to talk to the building inspector
Oh,
about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
The house is in good shape already. Are you living there right now?
We had a fire, we haven't been there for like a year and a half.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
too bad.
That's what like kick-started all of it.
It would have
Yeah.
had to have happened eventually with 2 kids, but
Yeah.
it was like, oh, that's kind of.
I was looking at the back picture, I'm like, well, the screen door's off, so,
Yeah.
We thought that was like.
yeah, like, it's time to replace the whole house, the screen door's broken.
Thank you.
Okay, Len.
Thank you.
Do you have one going around that's being signed already?
Yeah, there's a set of minutes over there in that folder.
Yeah, I
It
think
seems
I
to me
put
that everything that's on that lake is gonna have to eventually come before.
Yeah, and
It's
that's,
almost like there needs to be a lake district.
so,
Job security for us.
you know, for most of, so, for most of the lakes in the area, Glen Echo, this lake,
Yeah.
you know, they were all camps at one point, people moved in, they want to upgrade.
Oh, that makes
So,
sense.
yeah, and this has been like, ever since I've been on the board, there's always, you know, people buying these that, you know, older camps, and then, you know, you tearing them down or remodeling them or whatever, so.
Wow, some of those old camp septics are,
Yeah, the
They're
tight
pretty
tanks,
scary.
Yep, but hey, you know,
but you know what, they've gotta update them. So that's good.
all right, so, we have the minutes from the last meeting. Does anyone want to make a motion on the minutes? Any review, comments on it?
I've already signed them. Make the motion to approve the minutes as distributed from December 6th.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Garrett seconds that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion, minutes are accepted. Any other business that's unknown at the time of this meeting? Someone make a motion to adjourn the meeting so we can watch our Boston Celtics beat the Philadelphia 76ers.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned, meeting adjourned.